pull the optimism away. Or maybe it's not optimism at this point, but it's that time again. I know we're in the year of Pulp and we're getting near the end of the year, but I'm looking at our inbox over here at the old Midnight Marinera, which is, now 1 year dead, that podcast. And my goodness, there's a lot of Rorshack Rorshan and Julia Grane stories piling up. So welcome to Under Rorshack Analysis. This is the podcast where apparently we read nothing but Rorshack Rorshan and occasionally stories by Julia Grane, who might also be Rorshack Rorshan, just based on the exact same style and body of every email, despite the author name difference. I am, of course, David. This is, of course, Abysmii.
Hello.
And as we draw nearer to our 10-year anniversary as a podcast, feels only fitting we go back to reading very, very strange user-submitted fiction. Today, what I want to do, however, is just read a bunch of the titles of the stuff we haven't read yet to Abysmii, and then see what Abysmii wants to read.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. No beating around the bush on this one. That's the thing. I just want to kind of get right into it. So we haven't read, in all caps, Romeo and Juliet.
All right.
There is one called They Bow Down to the Cleaners.
Okay.
I have a word count with some of these. That one is 1860.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. The Staring Contest, which is 1669 word count.
Okay.
The Skibidi Man.
Oh, no.
Which 1346 word count there. I figured that might help us in the selection process. And those are all the ones that were sent by Rorshack. But then we got two more by Julia Grane, who, if you don't recall, Julia sent us a bunch of stories before. We read them all, realized that it's basically just Rorshack in a disguise. Or maybe not. I hope not. But they literally, the body of the emails is all the same too.
Yeah.
I don't think we can read this one because the story is literally titled "This Story Could Kill Alan."
Oh, no. Yeah,
So
we don't want to put that into the universe.
No, we don't. So let's maybe not do that one and wait till Alan's here to see if it kills him.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, a story titled "Lift Your Problems," and that is 1247.
I think we have to do Skibidi Man.
Oh boy, okay. The Skibidi
Let's just
Man.
get it out of the way.
Yeah, okay. And this is actually the revised version, apparently.
That seems not in the spirit of these types of stories. Why would you go back and revise these?
I need to go. I mean, they resubmitted it because they wanted to, I guess, clean some things up, and we'll see if that makes any sort of difference. But we hadn't read it yet, so This is our first time. I think that's fair. All right, I'm sending you the link. Oh, see if that works.
Yep, got it.
Okay. So we'll see how long this takes us, but it's only 3 pages on here.
Yeah.
So we maybe have to pick another one, but it depends.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right. I'll take a crack at this and start it. How about that?
Okay. Sounds good.
The Skibidi Man. We can't always win, and sometimes you have got to just accept that you have lost. This is one of those moments where already I'm struggling. It's these, Rorshack. This is one of those moments where we all know we are all going to lose, but you can lose in the most human way. You can lose with dignity and with one last act with kindness and justice. A couple of months ago, we all heard that the Skibidi Man was coming to town, and he was known more on TikTok. It was the way he danced with his belly was what the Skibidi Man was known for. We all laughed at the sound of this man coming to our town, and we just assumed that it was going to be some event for people to just be silly. I already don't know what's going on at all.
Oh, man.
I'm terrified at the same time.
Yeah. I'm very nervous about what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you picked this. You knew.
When the first event with the Skibidi Man came to town, it was on a sunny day, and everyone was just letting themselves go loose dancing with the Skibidi Man. There was alcohol and drugs, and the Skibidi Man just playing his tunes. The problem became really apparent when the people that went to the event were still dancing early in the morning. Oh no, it's the dancing curse.
Dancing
from the Middle Ages. Even when there was no song, the way they were dancing was like they had lost control of themselves.
Oh,
And
you were
there
right.
it is.
Then everyone started noticing how it was similar to the dancing plague of 1518. I'm sure everybody just knows about the dancing plague of 1518, which is nice. And the skibidi man was spreading it. The dancers were clearly distressed, and they wanted to stop, but they couldn't. They had to be quarantined, but the skibidi man did more events and secret raves in our town, and so this dancing plague spread even more. Then we found out that the skibidi man didn't need to be present anymore to spread the dancing plague, and simply being next to one of those dancers could affect you as well. So, for those who are not initiated here, Rorshack Rorshan comes up with these utterly bizarre ideas that, if written differently, would actually be really fascinating to explore. This is one of them. Dancing plague, revival of the dancing plague. Okay, there's merit here.
I mean, and I've said this in the past, and I will say it again, and I will probably say this every single time because it bears repeating. There is, in the year of our Lord 2024, no author more unique and postmodern quite like Rorshack Rorshan, Short Story 1, Julia Grane, who I do assume are all the same person, but I don't know.
Probably are all the same person.
Probably, can't claim to know. But this type of stream of consciousness absurdity is indecipherable and impenetrable, but I don't know anything that is more apt for the age we live in. So that's all I'm going to say again.
I just had an epiphany.
Okay.
Is Rorshack Rorshan our Banksy?
Oh man. Kinda, yeah. They'll never make any money off of this, but yeah.
No, that's the thing. No, they won't. But still, it has that same, like, there's an inscrutability to it and an anonymity to it that, yeah, based on the praise you just gave, yeah. Like,
Scientists are trying to figure out a cure, but that doesn't seem likely, and we know that those that are still not affected by the skibidi man dancing plague are eventually going to succumb to the disease. Everyone in this town will be affected, and even when you shoot a dancer in the head, their bodies will still be dancing. So as one last resort of logical human act, we are in a courthouse where the law gets dished out.
What? What?
We took everyone to court. Oh, man. Okay.
Oh, my God. Like, everybody's just skanking in the fucking aisles. Like,
oh, boy. Okay.
What kind of dance moves are they doing? What does this skibidi man prompt? I'm actually kind of
I just assume everyone's flossing, but I don't know.
Yeah. They're all meme dances.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be. Oh, my God. I hope they're not just all constantly going skibidi, skibidi, skibidi as they do it, but, you know. Yeah. I asked a kid just recently, by the way, who claimed he claimed to all his friends, and this is at my day job, like, I am going to teach you about Gen Alpha. So who can tell me what skibidi toilet is? You know, clearly being funny. I decided to challenge him, like, well, where did skibidi toilet come from? And the kid immediately turned around and gave me, like, the YouTube channel username where, like, apparently it popped up for the first time, or TikTok or whatever. And I went, you did your research. Well, then what is... Because I figured, this kid isn't going to know. None of these kids know. I'm going to get him. Like, what was used to make the original skibidi toilet? He said, I think it's called Gmod. And I went, you know!
They knew.
I'm like, I'm proud of you. You did your research. Even if you have no idea what Half-Life 2 and or Gmod is. Most kids are like, it's just a weird, ugly head coming out of a toilet. And I'm just like, kids don't know. But I have thought a lot about the Gen Alpha stuff just recently because, you know, hey, again, I'm of the opinion that don't rag on kids too much for the stuff they enjoy. We all enjoyed stupid shit.
Yeah.
We were kids. We all enjoyed cringy shit when we were kids.
Our stupid shit's better, but it was stupid shit.
I do think our stupid shit was better.
And everyone will think that their stupid shit is better. That's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. Our generation's stupid shit is better than everybody else's generation's stupid shit. We were peak stupid shit.
Absolutely.
And that's what this case is. They're debating in this courtroom whose shit was stupider. And I can argue it is going to be the skibidi man because look at how this stupid shit is affecting everybody. The court is filled with people who haven't been affected by the dancing plague, and there's a judge and two guys who have a quarrel with each other. Mr. Tannen versus Mr. Gracht is what will commence in court today. Mr. Gracht is suing Mr. Tannen for turning his daughter into a bulletproof vest, but Mr. Tannen says that Mr. Gracht's daughter had willfully wanted to be turned into a bulletproof vest. What? What does this have to do with the dancing plague?
What does this have to do with, losing with dignity, which was how this story started?
Is this going to come together?
Sometimes it does, and when it does, it's always just mind-shattering.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I am representing both. You can't do that in court. I'm representing both, and so I will be defending Mr. Tannen as well as prosecuting Mr. Tannen, as there is only one lawyer left in town.
Wait, so this is the lawyer talking about this?
Oh my god. So I essentially get double pay. I know it's weird to be defending and prosecuting at the same time, but nothing can be weirder than the skibidi man dancing. Anyhow, I start off with defending Mr. Tannen, and I tell the judge how Mr. Gracht's daughter has signed papers which showed her willingness to be a bulletproof vest. Okay, well, not a lawyer, but we don't know how old the daughter is. If she's a minor, she can't even enter into certain contracts, and you can't enter into a contract that requires an illegal action. But hey, there's only one lawyer left, so who knows?
Yeah, this is the last lawyer, the only non-dancing lawyer, I assume.
I would watch. That sounds like an Adult Swim series or like a web series of the last lawyer on Earth. And they have to the society is broken down, but we still somehow think we need courts. And how do you navigate that?
This is the darkest timeline for Harvey Birdman. Oh man. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, the next. We'll see if anything gets cleared up. But I do love this idea that we need not these are unprecedented times. But there's a literal person called the Skibidi Man going around making people, and we can't do anything about this guy apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Tannen's company makes humans into bulletproof vests because humans make the best bulletproof vests. An example was shown to the court of a recently made human bulletproof vest. The human used to be a farmer until he decided to be turned into a bulletproof vest. His arms and legs are the straps that will hang onto the person, and a process is used to flatten the human to become more agile and bulletproof vest-like.
Oh.
Human bulletproof vests are now being used all over the world, and just like Mr. Gracht's grievance against Mr. Tannen, there are many people who are against it. Okay, so now we have a completely different thing, completely out of left field, unrelated to the Skibidi Man.
My first thought was, is this about COVID? Because disease, proximity. But now we're just bringing in things of violence and war, and as usual, I could read whatever I want to this, and none of it's going to be right, probably.
No. Where's in the back of my head, I'm just hearing Sun Ra right now for some reason.
Hell yeah.
What you gonna do about your ass?
Mr. Tannen's story began when he dropped out of school, and one day, while walking outside, someone started shooting. Shit. Mr. Tannen picked up a child for someone, and the mother thought that Mr. Tannen was being helpful. Then when a bullet came towards Mr. Tannen, but it hit the child instead of him, that was the real reason why Mr. Tannen picked up the child. And that is where his human bullet vest idea came into play.
Oh, what?
Okay, no. Now we're about the older generation using and abusing the younger generation.
You know what?
That's where we're at now.
Okay. We're staying on this idea because you know what? You think about going back to our thing about, because now we have the Skibidi Man representing the younger generation and making everyone dance. That's part of it. And people being like, that's dumb. Why is anybody doing this? This is stupid. And yet just let people like things. But also the idea that people are poaching things from children and then regurgitating them back into the world. Specifically targeting children, and it's making a feedback loop of stupidity, and I don't know. Anyway,
is it parents being unable to relate to their kids and their weird internet lingo, and using them as a shield from it and just saying, like, you watch this, I don't want to, and like parking their kids in front of things.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Which is more prevalent now than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe this is a commentary on the fact that I have seen way too many people who have those like, like they put their babies in those like carriers that are just like almost on the front of them. And I've often joked with people at my day job. I was like, oh, wow, you're wearing a baby as body armor? That's suspicious. Wow, they must be braver than you, that kind of thing.
Oh.
So maybe this is that. Maybe Rorschach saw that one time and was like, you know what? Human bulletproof vest. There we go.
Maybe.
Then I switched seats and sat next to Mr. Gracht, and now I had to act as the prosecuting lawyer against Mr. Tannen. I made my case to the judge show that Mr. Tannen doesn't check the mental state of the individuals who want to be turned into a bulletproof vest. So it could have been that Mr. Gracht's daughter was not of reasonable mind during when she had decided to become a human bulletproof vest.
That is the most cogent sentence in this whole story. Oh.
I used to play bass for cogent sentence.
Mr. Tannen had admitted that he doesn't check for the mental state of the individuals who are willing to be a human bulletproof vest. Then I quickly switched seats to now be sitting next to Mr. Tannen to fire something back at Mr. Gracht. Has your daughter ever been to a therapist, and is there any evidence of mental health problems? I make a question towards Mr. Gracht.
Then I quickly switched seats and to now be sitting next to Mr. Gracht again. And I asked Mr. Tannen, it doesn't matter whether she had sought professional help or not for her mental health problems. The problem is, Mr. Tannen, is that you never checked.
Again, good argument.
Mm-hmm. He's really playing himself here.
He's getting paid either way. What does he care?
True.
My daughter had no physical problems, but she did show mental health problems, which me and my wife were embarrassed to get help for, Mr. Gracht admitted in front of the judge. Anyone who even wants to become a human bullet vest must clearly have some sort of problems in their lives, I added a comment to aid Mr. Gracht.
Then I switched seats again, and I was now sitting next to Mr. Tannen, and I made a statement towards Mr. Gracht, and I said to him, healthy people go to other countries to get euthanized, as they don't want to live anymore. It happens. Also, just assume that Mr. Gracht's daughter even has mental health problems because she wanted to be a human bulletproof vest, or bullet vest, is a strong assumption. Many people have wanted to become human bullet vests for excitement or travel, and one's wife became a human bullet vest for her soldier husband so that she could be with him and hug him during the whole war in the Middle East.
Oh, we're back. Oh, we're so back.
We're so back.
Oh my God, there it is. There's the mind-breaking sentence. Fuck.
I'm just picturing, all those videos you see of like, veteran returning home from deployment surprises their child or their spouse. Hey, you never get to have to do that anymore. You could take your spouse with you.
God damn it. Oh. I was about to say it's just about like school shootings, but no. And then we got the Middle East conflicts thrown in there.
Meanwhile, all I'm picturing in the background is this is all going on, and outside you just hear people all going skibidi, skibidi, skibidi. Oh, Lord, have mercy.
Then I switched seats again, and I was now sitting next to Mr. Gracht, and I said to Mr. Tannen, yes, healthy people go to countries to be euthanized, but to be turned into a human bullet vest is something entirely else, and something which has a completely different meaning. Euthanasia has a dignified, painless way to end someone's life, but to be a human bullet vest will have severe pain when shot. Oh, can't argue with that.
Now I was breathing quite heavily at this point, and I was out of breath from switching seats, and then we saw some people in court starting to dance. Uh-oh. The dancing plague was now entering the courthouse of the law. As I was switching seats between Mr. Tannen and Mr. Gracht, I was giving good points on both sides. Then one dancing man in court who was a security guard for the courthouse and also had a gun with him, he had accidentally shot Mr. Tannen while dancing. But luckily the bullet hit a human bullet vest that Mr. Tannen was wearing.
We didn't get an injunction on it? Damn it.
Now I have to change my whole thinking about this, because in the whole time I've just been picturing Mr. Tannen sitting there in a suit. Now there's been another human being hanging off of him hanging off of him the entire time.
God damn it. When we took off Mr. Tannen's shirt, the human bullet vest was the judge's daughter.
What?
Oh shit.
What?
The judge has to recuse themselves now.
Oh, clearly.
Yeah. And straight away, Mr. Tannen lost the case. Oh, no, mistrial.
Mistrial.
The judge was crying and moaning at his daughter being turned into a human bullet vest. He had no idea that his daughter had done this to herself, and Mr. Tannen had no idea that the human bullet vest was the judge's daughter. Okay, but all right, no, he's
Is this
guilty
actually about
for
the collapse of society?
I mean, aren't all of these stories?
I mean, yeah, they kind of all are.
If I could make one connective tissue, it is that all of these are about the breakdown of society.
My thoughts exactly. So Mr. Gracht won the dispute, and I had also won and lost at the same time. Then I was the only one in the court that was not dancing, but I knew that I eventually will start to dance. I saw both Mr. Gracht and Mr. Tannen dancing together to the Skibidi song. The judge was also dancing with his human bullet vest daughter, who was now dead.
Jesus.
At least we all did something humane before the dancing plague reached us.
What? That's it?
That's it?
Damn it. Oh, it is just, greet the end with open arms. Oh, man.
Oh, it really is. Just dance to your skibidi heart's content, because you never know when you'll become a human bulletproof vest. Or when your child will, without your knowledge, turn into a human bullet vest.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like, all of these stories do have such a undercurrent of apocalypse to them.
They really do.
And it's just like, maybe they're all trying to answer the existential question of, like, how do you greet your own demise? Which is the oldest question to humanity, of course. And this is just reflective of the age. God, wow. Okay.
Rorschach really knows how to tap into all of our existential dread and turn it into the biggest fucking nonsense pile you've ever seen. I love it.
It's great. We don't have Monty Python anymore. This is our Monty Python. Not that I didn't grow up with it, but yeah.
We've kind of lost. I have to this. We've kind of lost as a culture our appreciation for absurdism, like, to a degree.
Yeah, like, obviously Adult Swim exists, but the majority of people either don't know about it or don't get it.
Right.
And that needs to stay alive.
It does. And this is the kind of absurdism I can really get behind right now. Like, honestly, this was very enjoyable.
Nah, we want to do another one?
Yes, actually, I do.
What was the 1200? Lift your troubles?
Oh, lift your problems. And that one's under the pseudonym of Julia Grane.
Let's do that.
Okay. Why don't you start this one?
Okay, lift your problems 1. Before God created Eve, Adam must have... Before God created Eve, Adam must had been more muscular.
It's that extra rib, God
damn it. God created Eve from taking from Adam, and so he became less muscular. Oh, you're right. Imagine how much stronger Adam must have been, and more muscular he would have been before the creation of Eve. This thought has been killing me recently. Whenever I look at my wife in my mind, I believe her muscles are my muscles.
Oh, no.
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 Oh, no.
No.
God damn it. Imagine how much stronger I could have been if God hadn't taken from Adam to create Eve. I could have been able to lifty more and done more, but instead, some of Adam had to be given to Eve.
This is some incel bullshit right here.
This is like, I'm not even gonna. We need to get more paragraphs in before I make my prediction. But okay.
Yeah. Although, you know what this reminds me of? Just a quick tangent. Years and years and years ago, I remember seeing as a kid on TV some, like, one of those, like, televised magic shows. It was all pageant and spectacle. There was one act that opened with these lines. Back in the Garden of Eden. Back in the Garden of Eden, a rib was taken from Adam to make Eve. Tonight, we're going to put it back. It's somehow
that's
the act
awesome.
involved a big lead up to a woman's to an illusion of what looked like a woman jumping through the middle of a man.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
and then disappearing.
All right.
So, there you go. so yeah, I've gotten a little annoyed at my wife recently. I told her about how her muscles are actually my muscles. The amount of things I could have lifted and the amount of things I could have achieved, it would have been amazing. Down in my cellar, when I first moved my family into this house, as it was a cheaper area, I found a weight bar, but with no weights on it. I found it strange to just find the bar alone with no weights to put on it. There was a bench and everything else needed to put the bar on, but no weights.
I instantly thought to myself about buying some weights to put on the metal bar and then bench press on it all on my own. I decided to just do a few bench presses all on my own without any weights. I guess I was just fooling around and imagining just how much I could lift. When I first lifted the bar without weights on them from the bench, it was so light.
Mm-hmm. Then my daughter fell and cut her knee, and my eldest son dropped a few things. And then I felt some weight on the bar. The weight came out of nowhere, and then I lifted and bench pressed all on my own. Where did this weight come from? It then disappeared and was back to being light. Then my wife was pissed at me for not helping her with the kids, and then I felt more weight on the bar again. I couldn't believe it, and it was heavier than usual. My eldest son started complaining that he couldn't find his stuff in the boxes, and my eldest daughter was causing even more noise with her crying, and my pissed off wife made the weight of the bar really heavy without any weights being used.
Oh my God. Okay.
Wow. Okay. We're starting to
Okay.
get something.
So,
this is only a 2-page story, by the way.
So there is, I think this is actually Vice. I don't even know if Vice is still around anymore, but
I don't think so, but
they did a video series over a number of years where they would just get a room full of people, usually of a certain demographic or gender or, like members of the LGBTQ community or conservatives or liberals, like one, something like that.
Yeah.
And they would ask them questions. And one of them was just men or people who identified as male. And it was like very just pointed questions about like, how do you define a man? What are the problems facing men? Which is a very important discussion to have these days because, of course, toxic masculinity, patriarchy, all that stuff.
Yeah.
One of the men on this panel was a dude in a fucking cowboy hat who is just like the most... I don't even want to call him, stereotypically masculine because I think that's stupid. But also, it's clear the dude was he believed that's what he needed to do to be a man. Because how he spoke about it was very telling. When it got to him, he said, I live my life, awake at 3 a.m, worried sick that I'm going to be able to afford anything for my family and working hard, and just rattles off all of these like horrible ways that he worries about his life. That was masculinity to this man.
Wow.
And maybe they cut it, but I was waiting for someone to turn to him and be like, so for you, being a man is to suffer. And that stuck with me for years because a lot of people do believe that. And a lot of people believe that to be a man is to just shoulder responsibility and to shoulder liability all on your own because that's what men do. And it's a stupid thing.
It is.
If you're with someone, you're a partnership. You're supposed to help each other and support each other. And it's never going to be equal. There's going to be ups and downs. But like, that's a very old way of thinking is if there's problems, even if it's not my fault, I have to take care of it. I have to fix this. And
as the man, I have to solve it. Yeah, like
exactly.
That kind of.
And that's exactly what I'm getting from this is my kids have problems. My wife is pissed off. The weight is pushing down on me. And if only I, but somehow it's still the woman's fault. So to me, this is just like making a caricature of toxic masculinity. Or just like old ideas about masculinity. That's what this feels like. And I could be reading all of this into this story and none of it fucking matters, but that's what I'm going with.
These are the ultimate, I've said this before, I'll say it again, repairs repeating, ultimate test of reader response theory.
Yeah. And they are, and I think that's where the Rorschach comes from, is these are Rorschach paintings. You're reading into them and you're pulling stuff out. What's the actual painting? It doesn't fucking matter.
I will say, though, as I'm reading this now, I actually think I'm taking a completely different meaning. I think I see two bears high-fiving.
No, it's a vase, obviously.
No, it's two people looking at each other. Okay, anyway. Yeah, this is, wow. Oh, man. That's why I love reading some of these stories.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's been so long. And I needed a break from them, but I'm ready again.
Oh, yeah. Look, we'll come back to Dr. Satan soon, but
We will.
Yeah.
I had realized that this bar lifted problems and not weights, and it felt fantastic when I lifted it. It was like I was solving the problem just by lifting it, but I knew in my minds, I have multiple, that when I went back upstairs, I would have to deal with my family. It was an incredible find and all of the problems you would find in a family. I felt the weight of it all when I lifted the bar. It was always incredible, and when things broke around the house, I felt it when I lifted the bar. It was like I was dealing with everyday problems by lifting the bar.
Now it's a metaphor about ignoring your problems and turning it into, well, when something goes wrong, I go do this instead.
Yeah, it's not even addressing the problems. It's I don't have them if I can escape into something else.
Yeah.
Shit.
God
damn.
Then reality would hit, and I never had truly dealt with the problem. Yes, but sometimes the illusion alone is enough to make one happy. God damn.
Oh.
I needed to lift more problems, and so I started to create a few problems to lift. I stopped paying bills and was late on purpose to some events. I annoyed a few people in my friend circle, and when I lifted it on the bar, it was incredible. I was lifting my problems multiple times over.
Somebody get this off their film rights. I want to see these adapted to film, dude.
If Chuck Tingle can get a lot of great book deals, why can't Rorshack? Well, no, this is Julia Grane.
Yeah. Like,
let's be fair. This is from the mind of Julia Grane.
Just all of them, though.
And short story one. We need short. Yeah, all of them.
All of them, like, give me, fuck the No Sleep adaptation, fuck Channel Zero. Get me someone, like a studio, to just get some indie directors to turn these into surreal short films and play those at theaters. This is what I want to watch.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Then, when my wife's mother had died and she was real close to her mother, and this caused a depression within my wife with the mourning. Then, with my wife mourning, it left a lot of jobs left undone around the house and with the kids, and I wasn't that sad. Jesus Christ. I wanted to lift this problem, and so when I went down to lift the bar, it was really heavy. It was the heaviest I had ever felt this bar to be as I tried to lift it. I shouted out loud, We won't be dead forever, and one day we will all be alive. We will all be alive, and being dead is temporary, and being alive is forever. We will be forever alive to do things we want and don't want to do. We won't be dead forever, so don't get comfortable being dead, and one day we will all be alive. And as I shouted that out loud, I just about lifted the bar, but failed right at the end as I dropped the bar onto the ground.
What the hell was that?
Holy shit. It's like a Buddhist mantra screaming helplessly into the void.
Screaming a Buddhist mantra while lifting weights is kind of epic, actually.
All life is suffering.
To suffer nobly is to be a man. We won't be dead forever. Someday we will attain nirvana. But I can't want that because that's wanting is what keeps us trapped in the cycle of samsara. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't pick up the bar this time. I couldn't lift the problem, and it felt like I couldn't deal with the problem. I was angry, and I went upstairs and I shouted at my kids for being a mess, but it wasn't their fault at all. I went up to mourning wife and said to her, if God hadn't taken from Adam to make even, I could have lifted so much more. And then I went for a walk on my own.
I mean, exercise is important.
And then I needed to go out and walk my feelings away.
Then a couple of weeks later, I had heard my eldest son was getting into fights now, and there was some bullying involved. I was happy as this was a weight for the bar for me to lift. So I felt the weight of this problem on the bar, and my son is being heavily distracted from his schoolwork from all of the fighting, and his future was now being affected as well. All this I felt on the bar. It was heavy.
Oh boy, here it is again. I was going to lift this, and as I lifted the bar, feeling the weight of this problem, I shouted out loud again. Here's the mantra. We won't be dead forever, and one day we will all be alive. We will all be alive, and being dead is temporary, and being alive is forever. It's the same thing. We will be forever alive to do the things we want and don't want to do. We won't be dead forever, so don't get comfortable being dead, and one day we will all be alive, and I lifted the bar.
I need that as a bumper sticker.
That's going on my refrigerator. Are you kidding me?
I want to fuck with people with that.
How are you going to fit that all on a car bumper sticker, though? That's what I want to know.
Going to be a really big bumper sticker.
He just covers the entire back window of your car. Aren't you worried that's going to affect you? No, because we won't be dead forever, and one day we will all be alive. Who cares if I get in an accident?
Don't get comfortable being dead. It's temporary.
Death is an illusion.
Death is only the beginning. I was so happy, and it felt amazing, and it also felt I had solved the problem even though the problem was still present. Then my daughter's school bus crashed and fell into some river, and all of the kids drowned. I was excited as I wanted to lift this on the bar. All those problems from that bus crash and drownings, all those that had lost their lives, including my daughter, and all those mourning parents. I wanted to lift it all, and the bar was so heavy, and I shouted out loud, "We will not be dead forever. We will not be dead forever. We will be alive forever." But I couldn't lift it, and the heavy weight of the bar carrying the weight of the bus crash had crushed my body as it fell on me. Oh. I am still breathing, but still in pain, and I started to cry as I couldn't lift the problem. If only God hadn't taken from Adam to create Eve, I could have probably lifted this as I would have had more muscle.
This is deep in ways that I can't really quite comprehend.
I'm going to be thinking about this one for days. Literal days.
Oh my God. Okay.
These stories are the noise music of literature. Because it is just an assault.
every metaphor, every analogy we've made for this particular episode feels so fucking apt right now. Jesus Christ almighty. Okay. All right. You know what? I think it's only fair that we could just go over this, but should we just freshness rating this? And
yeah. So for the first one, I'm going to give it what am I going to give it? I'm going to give it, a lawyer, the last lawyer on earth, representing the last plaintiff and defendant on earth. And for this one, I'm going to give it, a male fragility out of a very possible American Beauty reference.
Holy shit. For the first one, I will give it a human bullet vest out of an entire line of people dancing to the Skibidi Man. Just to wear it just in case something goes wrong at that particular rave. And for the second story, I will give it one missing rib out of a school bus full of children falling into a river.
These stories, they almost feel like post creepypasta.
This is
because it's for a lot, the arc of online internet fiction, horror fiction, was green text posts and then creepypasta and then no sleep. True scary stories, all that shit. It went from super amateur to super, super polished and refined. And this is just, fuck you. We're leaning into everything. Everything bad. Everything nonsensical. Abandon all hope. And just, it's awesome.
Oh my God. You know what? It's because you think about the natural progression. I keep thinking about the way some people took things like the back rooms and tried to, with everybody, so many people jumping on it and writing it and adding their own lore and doing it lost its original purpose, right? I mean, neat concept when ambiguity, and now everything has to be explained and categorized and put in a box, and this feels like the logical progression of the counterpoint of that, which is a fervent plea for making things just weird and abstract for the sake of being weird and abstract. These stories are tantalizing. They defy attempts to try and make sense of them, but also do make sense in your own way. And you take away from them what you want to take away from them. We took away a lot from these. And for that reason, I think they're worth reading. You know, creepypasta as a genre is more or less dead, but it's nice to know that people who like writing short horror fiction are, you know, still doing it because they can. We've definitely we've received quite a few, and people we know are still writing it. We're still writing our own stuff, which is nice. Mm-hmm. And the fact is, though, like, then you get stuff like this, and it's like, yeah, this is great. I encourage this. I encourage people to just have fun with it, experiment. Literary anarchy.
I'm impressed and I'm mystified that the fact that this you can't criticize this. You can be like, oh, this is misspelled. It's like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
not the point. Like, and that, you know, big deal. Again, it's a giant fuck you. Yeah, that's and they're not going to stop. They're not going to. This is the revised version, or the last one was the revised version.
Yeah.
There were still typos, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. And that is so impressive to just be able to throw something so imperfect at the wall and yet still retain us as an audience.
And what a gift. What an honest gift. I'm going to say this right now. What a gift this is, that we have our own Banksy that gives this seemingly exclusively to us to share with the world.
Love it.
I love it.
Coming.
And there's more. Oh God, there's more. See, our mysterious writer got the assignment. We said, hey, feel free to send us your fiction. And by God, they are sending us their fiction. And I appreciate it, even if they're not the same person as Short Story 1. I just genuinely appreciate that, all the communication and all the the chance to do this and to be delighted and mystified and confused and sometimes horrified and to feel emotions. That's what we want.
It does, yeah. No, that's the one thing I could say. This makes me feel. This actually elicits reactions from me, and it's kind of hard to do that these days with what's out there.
Yeah. Remember, we are living in, since we are all living in a time of just genuine and true existential dread all over the planet Earth. I think having things like this is kind of just being able to embrace absurdism is wonderful.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to encourage once again that if anybody out there wants to submit their fiction for us to read and share and get the genuine raw reaction to, we are open. You can email us at midnightmarinara@gmail.com or even at our other address, creativehorror@outlook.com. We have a couple different ones now. Just make sure we're getting what we need. We inevitably and eventually do read most of the stuff that gets sent to us. And as long as it's above board and it's not like AI slop, we are good for it. We are, and I want to stress this again because I mentioned it earlier, we are fervently against the use of generative AI in a creative space. So if that stuff comes to us, luckily we haven't had to deal with that much. But if it does, no dice, okay? Please, even if it seems weird or goofy or strange or silly, like you could look at this at all the stuff we just read at a surface level and be like, there's no merit to this. No, there's merit to this.
Mm-hmm.
There's merit to this. And I encourage that because human error is still human error. And at least it's not a machine. It's not soulless, and it's not blatantly ripping off bits and pieces of what humans have actually created. That said, you can also support the show by just listening. If you want to find us on your favorite podcast app and haven't subscribed to us already, or find us on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to us already, we encourage it. We got a lot of good stuff here on Creative Horror. Many different podcasts, including ones that have retired, things like Midnight Marinara and the Trick or Track, Darkly Lit, The Witching Hour, and active shows like this and the Jameson tapes. And by the way, really enjoyed the Frogman episode.
Yeah, go check that one out.
Good choice. And if you want to support the show and what we do on a monetary level, we're open to that as well. Patreon.com/creative horror. We have content there that goes back ages. We have a lot of different weird things, including the choice dregs for this show. I think some of our most weird and introspective stuff often comes in the dregs, and you just get to hear us just bullshit about life and our thoughts about things in general, just as we get warmed up for this show. There's also some extra content coming that way as well. And keep an eye out for stuff on the side of like Twitch streams and chats and stuff. Going into the new year, we want to find more things to do, time permitting, of course, because we are all unfortunately busy human beings who have lives outside of this, which is, again, a niche hobby. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because if it wasn't a niche hobby, this would be work, and that would take a lot of the fun out of it.
And I wouldn't do it because we're not getting paid that much.
Exactly. If we really want to be paid, we have to be the last lawyer on earth.
Yes.
And then represent both the defense and the prosecution. Enjoy your flossing, everybody, and salud.
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinara, and this podcast is part of CreativeHorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at CreativeHorror.com.